What's up, YouTube? I've been using the MM710 for about 4 days now, and I'm here to answer the question if the mouse is worth it in 2021. Let's go back to September 24th, 2019, when I pre-ordered this bad boy and I finally got it into my hands. At least that's what Google says. Anyways, and I tried it for the first hour and I immediately realized how absolutely horrible a mouse could feel in your hand. The build quality of batch 1 is notorious for being just terrifyingly horrible. So to start, the shape, dimensions, and weight. I'm going to put something on screen, but the size is 117 millimeters long, 38 millimeters tall, and 63 millimeters wide at the back hump. The grip width is about 54.5-ish. You can just look it up on Rocket Jump Ninjas. I'm not going to get really into that. The weight is 55 grams, and I'll double check that right now on my scale actually. Real gamers use pink scales. Well, real's gold. 56. I have a little bit of cable hanging on it. So yeah, the shell itself is 55. Not bad. Also, the weight distribution is very far forward, extremely far forward. If you put your fingers kind of where the smallest dimension is, yeah, that's kind of where most of the weight is. But if you kind of put it towards the middle, it immediately starts dragging a lot. And then if you go down to about where I grip, it's very front heavy. Keep that in mind. So before I get into anything else, I just want to state that my hand size is about 18 centimeters long, 10.5 centimeters wide to the thumb knuckle, and about 8.5 to my pinky's knuckle, or my first finger rather. So some quick comments on the shape before we move on. The mouse kind of reminds me of the back hump that the S2 has. It is 38 millimeters high with only about 1 millimeter thinner at 63 millimeters wide at the back hump. But the similarities start to end there though, in my opinion. The thinnest grip dimensions is about 2 millimeters thinner on the sides and much further forward than the S2. It's also more gradual and straight and less aggressive than the S2 or like the FK. I feel that because of that, I found it harder to grip with the thumb and pinky in my personal experience and grip preferences. You know, if you're trying to get a nice grip of it, this hump right here, this bump not being any more aggressive, my fourth finger and pinky try to slide down or up, you know what I mean? I felt like a little bit less grip there. Also, the hump is about 60 millimeters wide at the very top before it starts to kind of flatten. Because of that and the position of where the hump is towards the back, it really encourages your fingers to lay straight. Kind of encourages, you know, your fingers to bend maybe a tiny bit less comparable to other mice. I still bend my fingers, but I just wanted to note that. And lastly, the length is a little bit shorter than the S2, of course. So jump into these specs. Sensor, PMW 3389. I mean, it's pretty much the top 3 sensor on the market right now. Definitely no complaints there. It did very well. The liftoff is 1 to 2 millimeters. You can set it in the software. I'm not really going to show the software because it's just super easy to use and understand. It does have options for mouse smoothing and crap like that, which it's turned off by default. I watched some reviews and it must have been turned on by default back then. Not anymore, so that's nice. The mouse feet are 95% PTFE or something like that. I found them very scratchy and definitely more resistant than like a third-party pair of feet. I mean, about 3 hours in, it really started to smooth out and feel a little bit more normal. Just take that into account. If you wanted to main this mouse, you're gonna get some third-party feet. The box did come with an extra pair. Nice to note that. Moving on though, the scroll encoder is a stiffer 24-step scroll wheel with a little bit more grip on the top because of rubber, and it's also grooved. I've had a really nice experience with it. I think a lot of reviews also agree that it is probably one of the best for just casual use and like gaming as well. I thought it was a great in-between. Really liked it there. The placement of the scroll wheel is a little bit higher than other mice, but it didn't affect me too much. You just kind of get used to it, you know what I mean? It doesn't get in the way or anything. The left and right clicks are the Omron 20Ms. Little to no flex at all. Almost as good as my Model O, if not better. And they have no considerable pre-travel, but a nice amount of post-travel. And I will show you guys. So this is the right click. It clicked in, and then I can push it further. And same with the left click. So there's a mod on Reddit and YouTube where you just kind of put the top of like a zip tie inside of the shell, so it is fixable if you want. It did not bother me in my personal use. You know, if you're gonna make the mouse and trick it out, it is fixable. Moving on though, the side buttons I found to be very tactile with a low amount of force to depress fully. They have no pre-travel and then post-travel. The side buttons are rollable as well. You know, my thumb is decently wide compared to other people's, and I don't even hit it, so I could just roll my thumb upwards and then I'm pressing mouse 5, which is nice for like push to talk or something. The cord is a 1.8 millimeter thick, 5.9 feet in length, flexible ultra weave cable. If I were to have some comments on it, probably like the top 2 stock cord I've ever used. It's not as flexible as a paracord, of course, but I feel like it gives it a little bit of stiffness that you need, so that way it doesn't want to really go underneath your mouse gates. I think it's a very nice balance actually, and in my own use, I mean, no considerable drag. Maybe you can feel the weight a little bit though on larger flicks. Amazing cable. I've loved it so far. The stress relief does work very well, and it lands the cord like a considerable 3 to 4 inches forward from the top of the mouse. So they did pretty darn good on that cord. Okay, very short sound test. I'm not really that type of guy. I mean, you can like look it up somewhere else, but here you go. Left click and right click. Yes, very tactile, very Omron. Now the side buttons. Very nice. Moving on though, so quality control concerns and some personal comments here. The post travel on the left and right clicks, kind of already mentioned that. I mean, like I said, you can fix it if it really bugged you. There's a tiny bit of rattle for the scroll wheel. I mean, nothing that any other mouse doesn't have. But more importantly, a really big issue, if you push down on the sidewall towards the bottom, nothing happens. But every single time, if you push down higher, it presses the mouse 5 button, which could be a serious issue depending on your grip. So definitely not happy with that. Pressing a sidewall should never press a button. That's definitely a quality control concern. Another concern, the feet kind of suck, very scratchy. Yeah, not a good experience with the feet. And a quick personal comment though, I'm not a fan of the holes, especially on the side. Kind of my main mouse right now is the Viper Mini between the Model O-. I realized that I think I might actually really like holes on the top because it kind of lets your palm breathe and you don't feel it that much. But having holes on the sides is cursed to me. I definitely don't like it. And these holes are no joke, man. They're in the shape of the Cooler Master logo, and they're massive, dude. In fact, so massive that with my grip style, my fingers tend to curl up, and as you can tell, my pointer finger is going straight into a hole. So mid-game, I'm kind of like, do I place it in the hole and use it as grip, or try to avoid it completely? I'm not a fan. They should not be on the clicks, and they should not be on the side. Last question though. Is it worth it in 2021? I say yes, especially if it's on sale or you know you're a claw grip only type of guy. If you buy it on Amazon, it's free returns. If you know you're a claw grip user, give this a shot, you know, try to use everything in that claw grip family. And I feel like this is the definition of claw grip, especially if you're a fan of the S2, FK, or XM1, but you're kind of looking for something smaller. I would definitely say try it. For me though, I can't stand the holes in the sides and I don't prefer them on the clicks, and my natural grip kind of lands my fingers further downwards towards the bottom of the mouse, so I kind of avoid the natural side groove that it wants you to have, so my fingers land right in the holes and not preferred. Also, the clicks tend to be a little bit mushier the higher up you go, and they're harder to depress as well. Where my fingers land, they're either really stiff or really mushy and, you know, not very responsive. If you're a claw grip user, get it. But thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna put some gameplay on screen. Have a nice one.